Hey everyone, this is Innovators Mindset with Rob Santos. There we go, buddy. All right, man. Rob, my guy, Raggedy Rob.
Yes. Oh
Okay.
wow.
Listen,
Even
am
said
I
the
not,
nickname. My bad. Even
you
said the
got it.
nickname.
You got it right on there, man. That's what I gotta
Yeah.
say. Listen, everyone, if you are listening to this podcast, I am blessed to be speaking at the Higher Order Thinking Schools Arts for Learning Conference in Connecticut in June. And prior to that, we did a little Q&A. I connected with a group, and I met Rob Santos there. And the dude is just energy, and we connected immediately. And typically, there's, Rob, I gotta tell you this. There's some times in my life where I go speak somewhere, I'm like, I want to meet that person. And so, I saw that you connected with me on Instagram, and I sent a message like, it was just really awesome listening to you. So I thought, this would be great if if everyone got to hear you too. So I really appreciate some of the work that you're doing, and and the perspective. And this is we got all of our swears out before the podcast before we started hitting record.
Yes.
But if you could just tell everyone a little bit about you and what you do today, but I don't want you to you, and I am going to share a little bit. You
Bet.
are in education, but you're also a comedian. So I want to make sure that
Yes.
getting both sides, because maybe that's why I connect to you right away, because I love the art of the that you're doing. I think it crosses over so much to education just naturally, and so just tell everyone a little bit about yourself, Rob, as we get started, because I want everyone to be as blessed as I was when I first met you.
See, all right. First and foremost, I feel pretty. Thank you for that. I did say that before we started, so I feel super pretty. So my background, I'm a stand-up comedian for 18 years. Started in New York City, came back home because I didn't want to raise a city kid, and plus I wasn't really feeling New York.
Mm,
So when I came back from the city, I learned something called some emotional regulation, which is what I mentioned to you
yeah,
earlier, which is the DBT, the dialectical behavioral therapy, and that helped me find my voice. So, and I developed this workshop called Each One Teach One, and I actually developed it while I was in I was in a not a psych ward, but I was inpatient
yeah,
in New York City. So I developed this concept of what it would be like for therapy for comedians.
yeah,
Instead of the jokes, like it's called Each One Teach One, where the journey is more important than the joke. So to me, what I wanted to do was help comedians regulate their emotions, understand what it is that they're saying, so that they're just throwing out jokes, but they have heart and truth to it. And then eventually it just matriculated into the educational field where I started doing it with students. I got started working with Arts for Learning in 2022.
mm,
And then before you know it, 4 years later, I'm still doing it, still helping the babies, teaching them how to regulate their emotions, having them understand it. And so that's basically what it was. I kind of say sometimes like I'm a failed comedian but a proven artist, and
totally.
and that's where I'm at right now.
Well, you're not a failed comedian.
See, now,
Did you?
now that's the reason why I say that, so you could say that. It sparks some conversation.
you're not.
But I get
You're not
what
a
you
failed.
mean, though.
Yeah, and you actually you are the first person on my podcast that has their own show, their own TV show. So you can actually, I'll put it in the link down below. It's actually called Beige.
Yes.
Tell me about that process. Like, how was that? Because that was I'm like, oh, this is a cool guy to reach out to. I was right. This is like a super cool dude. So yeah, you're like, hey, check this out. So I started watching some of it. So tell us a little bit about Beige, and I'm interested in some of that process, and how some of that overlap is to education, because I know you're telling me some really interesting stories about some of the kids you work with and some of the process of what you do.
Yeah, so wow, okay, what a great, wonderful question. So my original show, Beige on Both Sides, got picked up by a local
Yep.
TV network, fell apart because this woman didn't, she tried to take my intellectual property and then try
Yep.
to sue me for defamation. Fought to get back my intellectual property. Boom, everything was cool. Then I started doing Beige, and Beige is basically about stand-up comedian being released from inpatient care, returning to the family, his estranged family they left behind. So
Huh.
basically, instead of black dude getting out of jail, it's beige dude getting out of inpatient work. So the concept behind that was like, I just want people to see something different.
Yeah.
I want people to understand that the white people,
Yeah.
diseases, we experience them too. So I wanted to show that different side of myself, number one, especially through all the pain that I've been through. Because earlier I was saying, I walked away from my family to protect them from me
Mm.
because mentally and emotionally I wasn't there. and I forgot who my kid was, and I did something I didn't like doing, and I just took off, and then spent like 2 years in the city. I came back and forth from New York to Connecticut, and I just kept writing, and that's where the concept of the show happened. And and when I came back home, I had this IP for it. It was really dope. And my buddy and I during the pandemic, we shot it. We raised about 35K during the pandemic
Hmm.
just to shoot 3 episodes. And the whole concept came from just the toughest parts of my life. And when we shot it, it was probably one of the most difficult things I ever had to do
Hmm.
because it was like it's loosely based off my life.
Yeah.
But imagine everything that you've experienced. Now you got to act it out for people to see.
Right.
So I just cried most of the time. And on top of that, even my kid, my daughter, Brooklyn, she's like, Dad, remember that time you left to go get the milk? I'm like, yeah. So, but I came back with gallons, right? But like I came back with gallons.
You
Even
know,
her experiences, it affects me.
you said something, and I really appreciated this, and it reminded me a little bit of my own experience. So when I first wrote Innovator's Mindset, I
Mhm.
actually had no idea of like I was going to publish a book, and I was approached by a company that had been around for a long time, and I had built an audience through my blog, and I wrote a certain way. I was a big storyteller, and then this company reaches out to me and said, "Hey, we'd love for you to, send a proposal because we really would love to publish your book." So then they asked me
Ooh,
to publish my book, and then the feedback was like, "Well, actually, we don't really want it to be story driven. We want it to be, really data research stuff like that." And I was
yeah,
like, and it was just they hammered it because they approached me because of who I was, or like
right.
because of what I was online and what they had read. But they're like, "Hey, we love that so much that we want you to be like everyone else." And when you heard that, and I think this is really powerful advice for people, is that we live in a time where you can own your own, just be you. And I think more people appreciate that. And I hope a little bit they're like, we should just let him write his book because it actually did did pretty well, just being
Right.
himself, right? Like the thing that attracted us to my writing in the first place was also they wanted me to just kind of be like everyone else. And so
Mm,
I do want to kind of connect this to, I know that you do some speaking, you work in education, and um,
yeah.
tell a little bit about that process, because I know, and this is, I think it's a good thing. I know you're different when you approach audiences and how you connect with them, because I
For
know you
sure.
have this comedy background, but I also know you share, stuff that makes people feel. And one of the things I talk to your group is that, really stories create an emotional connection where I want to change something. So tell a little bit about that process of like how you kind of connect with audiences in the education space.
So, and that's the beautiful thing. So, like when I think about Beige, it's an educational perspective of what I think mental health is. So,
Yeah.
for Black men to watch, they like, oh wow, that's dope. I see myself in him. So,
Mhm.
typically, when it comes to education, so the students that, especially the ones that really like you, they see parts of themselves in you. So, my background as a comedian was basically crowd control, room control.
Mhm.
The basis, like the vast majority of what educators need to do when they're especially in the room with students is crowd control, is room control. I've been doing that my whole life. As soon as I walk into a space, I work with so many different types of people, people from foreign countries. I even had to do, I hated doing prom shows. They were the worst. Imagine 1 a.m., kids from Jersey, all they want to do is either fight each other or try to mess with each other, right? And I'm over here trying to like get them to pay attention. That helped me out as far as how to be able to change the tone and the tenor of the space and make it my own and get them to pay attention to me and then end up fostering a look. So when it came to the education field, it was, I don't want to say it was a slam dunk, but let's just say it made my
Right.
process of onboarding much easier because I've already been doing this for years.
The when you so and this is probably like a very far out example of this, but when you're like listening to someone who's speaking and they're talking about like, hey, I was in the mountains and I had to cut off my arm and all that stuff, like
Yeah, yeah,
crazy story, but I'm never gonna be in a situation.
yeah.
Like it's an
Yeah.
inspiring story. And I think that, not only in when you speak to audiences, but when you work with students, that they see themselves in you. Do you know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
it's like people think they have to have this like crazy story,
No.
whereas actually a common story told in a powerful way can actually really connect with people. And so that's what I really appreciate about what we just said. This is why I liked you so much right away. Maybe it's just because I agree with everything that you say. But they
Yeah,
that is I just love that you said that because you want people when you're on a stage or in front of the classroom to see themselves in you. And I think
yeah.
that you do a great job of that. So I do want to I want to ask you a little bit. Tell me, okay, so tell me a little bit about being a teaching artist. What is like for those who are not familiar, and I'm I am somewhat familiar because of my connection with the conference coming up. So tell people like teaching artists and what does that look like, and what's the space that you create for kids?
So for me, this is wild. I'm gonna say this is gonna be wild. I want kids to be scared of me. I want kids to be scared. I know that's wild. It's so. For instance, all right. To answer the question, give you the facts of it. ADHD is wild. How do I get kids to connect? I say the first thing I used to say. Does anybody in here know what it's like to not feel good and you don't know why?
Right.
And then everyone they raise their hand, and then that right there. Or I say, does anyone in here? It's like I let you guys know from the beginning. I have ADHD. So if I forget something, y'all let me know.
Mhm.
It's okay. Like, yo, Mr. Rob, where you going? What's up, man? Like, like what's up there? Like, and they'll let me know. And I'm like, all right, I appreciate you. And also, if I start talking like this, that's Andrew. He's my trauma voice. When I get really excited, he just pops out. So, like, if you say to something to me like, hey, Mr. Rob, you look really nice today. Oh my God, thank you. That's him. So you might also see him as well. And then the black kids be like, hey, yo. I was like, I know, hey, yo, but this is me, dog. I don't know what to tell you. So we're gonna keep it moving, right? So that right there creates connection because now they're human.
Yeah.
Now I'm human. Now I'm vulnerable. The thing is, it's like people think that we got to get vulnerable. Why do we get vulnerable?
Mhm.
Through fear.
Mhm.
Without fear, you can't be vulnerable. You have to go through that space. Like what you just mentioned with your book, you have to go through that space to get to the other side of it. We can't have one thing without the other. So for me, teaching artist work is basically taking your background, which was me, storytelling, stand up, things like that, taking your background and turning it into a curriculum to teach others. That's my perspective of what a teaching artist is. So
Yeah.
cool thing is I'm only there for like a couple hours tops and I
Yeah.
keep it moving because I don't have to be their teacher. And that's the beauty of it. I always keep my voice to a certain octave. So when I do raise my voice,
Right.
then they're listening. And what I teach them is I just want them to tell me what they hate and what they love. And it'd be wild. I
And
love it.
I actually have that written down because we talked about this and it was like a very interesting perspective
Right.
of love and hate that you shared. So can you actually share that with everybody? Because I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. And then when you explain, I'm like, oh, I totally do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
either it is weird and I'm weird, but it was
Yeah.
just like when you said it, I was like, huh, that's so fascinating. So explain that a little bit when you were talking about that idea.
I'll give you a quick example. When you came to our PD, right? I was bothered by you. I was
Oh.
like, man, this guy ain't nothing, man. I can do this. I'm like, I know. Okay, watch, wait, watch. But I'm gonna hit him up afterwards because he's doing the thing. I needed to be bothered in that moment for me to have an understanding of what my emotions were telling me. What my emotions were telling me was that I respect you, I like what you're doing, and there's a connection there. Most of the time, I don't get that way. So
Mm,
when I felt bothered and I felt upset, that's when I knew what was going on. My emotions are tools for me.
mm,
And so that's how I go about doing that. And the way that what I use is the list of things that I hate, things that I love, because what it is, when I write something, you got to talk about something that you're bothered by. No great art worth
right.
watching or consuming comes from happiness. Nobody wants to see that. No matter who you
Right.
are. So when I have the kids come up on stage in front of the class, one, public speaking, they fear. But two, when they got this thing in their hand of things that they hate, and they say, I hate the beach, or I hate raccoons, or I hate ketchup on a hot dog. And then the other kid's like, yeah, 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 yeah. Now they're all connecting,
Right.
and then now hate is healing. And then afterwards, I have them go ahead and they do love. Like some kid said, I love the smell of gasoline, which is wild, which is wild. And what I have them do is I have them do it in front of the teacher, right? And then the thing is too, I have one rule in my workshop. If you're in the room, you're in the class. I don't care who you are, everybody get this smoke. That's how I do it. So the teachers get up and they recite things that they hate and things that they love. Now the teacher's human. And what happens is with those kids that were fearful in the beginning, see Mr. or Mrs. Such and such do the thing. Now they're comfortable. It's all a game. You know what I'm saying? It's all a
Yeah,
game.
I love this. There's two things that really stuck out to me that you just shared. So in education, people always talk about, you talk about like you're with these students for a short amount of time. So
Mhm.
the ability to build rapport quickly matters, right?
Mhm.
And someone as something as a speaker, you and I were talking about this prior, like you want to immediately have that connection where people know you see them.
Without
And a
question.
lot of times when people talk about relationships in education, they're
Hmm.
really talking about knowing their students, but really, if the students don't know you, then there's a disconnect there too. The
Hmm.
love hate thing too, an idea that I learned from a gentleman named Ewan McIntosh is called not just having kids develop as problem solvers, but problem finders. And
Yeah.
to become a problem finder, something's got
Mhm.
to bug you, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of times schools, what they do is they ask kids to solve problems they don't care about, they have no interest in. So it's like, hey,
Mhm.
what's something that you would actually, what's a problem you want to solve? Not
Mhm.
here's a problem I think is important. It's like, what do
Mhm.
you want? And so I just think that's such a powerful way to connect. So
Yeah.
that, and you and I could listen. I gave you like a hard time because I knew I'm going to talk to you forever.
Yeah, I
And
know
this
because
would
we got like
happen.
6 minutes. Yeah, yeah.
I got you. No, because I could talk to you forever. Like he's such a fascinating mind. I love your work. Tell me, um, where if people just want to kind of be introduced to your content, to see some of the stuff places. I don't want to just like, hey, I'm on Instagram and stuff like this. What like?
Yeah.
Tell me a little deeper about that. Like, how will people learn about you? Where is that space?
So that's a great question. See, so with the hate thing, I validate the experience. I want to say that I validate the kid's experience. I show love to it. So now going on to the next thing, like you go look up, just go watch Beige on Tubi,
Mhm.
and then you'll see what it is that I do. Go on Beige and see Tubi. I mean, go on Beige on Tubi or Amazon or Prime Video, and then you'll get an opportunity to see what it is that I do. I can say, yeah, go to my Arts for Learning page, go to robsantoscomedy.com, go to all those spaces, go whatever it is that you can consume anything that it is that I do. But if you go ahead and watch Beige, you'll be like, oh, I get it.
Love it.
I get it.
Yeah, and I started watching it, and like, this is pretty cool. I'm like kind of feel like I'm a little starstruck. It's pretty
Get
cool,
out of here.
man.
Nah, see,
No, it's pretty cool.
Yo,
It's pretty cool.
I
I'm like
appreciate
sitting
you.
here, got your episodes out like in front of me. It's pretty cool. Like it's a pretty cool experience. And so, you and I talked about this. I don't speak just to share information. To me, it's an art, and there's storytelling in there. There's emotional connection. You want people feeling something, and I know you do such a good job of that. So. I
Mhm.
know that you are building your speaking career. You're already connecting with conferences, connecting with groups, and so pretty successful failed comedian, if you ask me.
Exactly. Trust.
Right? You're
I,
doing pretty good for a failed comedian.
yeah, I'm grateful for where I'm at because I don't think because if you look at my peers that I came up with,
Mhm.
for some reason they're pundits now. They're
Yeah,
not even comedians anymore. At least I get to do it the way I
love that.
want to.
And that is a lesson for everybody, my friend. That's the beauty of the time that we live in. If you are adamant about something and it's you need to share your story, and that's what people connect with, right? You might not connect with everybody, but you'll connect with people that matter to you, and I think that matters. So, dude, it's been I can't, and we've never met in
Nah,
person,
right.
so we kind of met, but we've never met in person. So I'm really excited to see you at the conference in at the end of June. So
Same here.
everyone, make sure you connect with Rob. I'll link his Beige down below as well as his Instagram account. And so make sure you connect with him. And I really appreciate your time, Rob, and I appreciate you all for listening. Have a wonderful day.